All right, so this is the entirety of what we do for what we need for tools / equipment, supplies, that type of a thing, for wiring and your basic cabinet electronics, okay? So some of the electronics and stuff that is not seen here usually comes with something that you would buy, or you can buy the extra stuff. Obviously, we're not putting in wires themselves and all that stuff. I have a little bit here, but this is just an extra. This is nice to have around. If you're doing JAMA and you have a JAMA harness, you're probably going to cut a bunch of the wires off or not use a bunch of the wires on that JAMA harness. So you can actually cut them off and have that extra excess stuff kicking around, so you don't have to go out and buy extra wire and stuff. So you'll see in our training video for that where I start doing that. Also, you'll see the tools that we have laid out here. You'll also see only parts of them during certain training videos, but this is to give you that feel of the entirety, like our other videos and our other lessons. Basically, to get you prepared for, see what you either have already or what you need to get. Obviously, I don't know where you're gonna get them. It doesn't really matter, but you do need them, all right? So in one shape or form or another, you're gonna need this stuff. First off, obviously, you're gonna need some side cutters. Then you're gonna need some needle nose pliers, and you're gonna need some wire strippers. I've got two kinds here. These are my favorite. Then we've got some crimpers. So what these crimpers do is they're for your little connectors here. This crimps this perfectly. Now, the only reason why I'm holding this one and showing up is because it's a specialized tool. It's actually fairly expensive. I think they're about $80 Canadian, so they'll be about $60 American. We have a place here, Princess Auto in Canada, but you can get them at Home Depot, you can get them at Rona, whatever. It doesn't matter if you get it at a discount place or not, it will be full price. They do not give deals on these, so if you find it on Amazon or whatever, it's gonna be the same price regardless. So if you find this in a garage sale or something, or used somewhere, and you get it for a little bit cheaper, then rock on. But yeah, it's always a bit of a cringe having to buy one of these bad boys. So take care of it when you buy it. What it does is it gives you that perfect little crunch on your connector every time. And it also has the side cutter tool in one, so it's like 2-in-1. It's kind of nice. You can't get around using it, so you better like it, that type of a thing. We use zip ties with the screw holes, so you can screw down the zip ties. I use 7-inch zip ties for our machines and what we do. You don't have to use these type of connectors, but you're gonna need something that's gonna screw down or hold down. Sometimes there's these little square pads with the 3M on them, and you can put that in and put the zip tie around it instead of screwing it in, depending if you have a type of material that is good to hold those screws or not. You can do that. Also, we have little 4-inch zip ties. We go through these like crazy, so they're a good investment to have. Your drill, just make sure, I say it all the time on there, make sure that it has a setting mode on your drill. You're gonna need, for different things that we do, you need different strengths for it to go. So you need to like be able to set it to 5 so it doesn't go any harder than that, so it doesn't strip out these type of screws. This is only a 5/16 screw. It's not that big. This spot for your screw down on your zip tie only allows you a 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of depth into the wood after that. So you don't want to hit that hard with a bunch of stuff. And yes, it will hold. These are aggressive wafer screws. They are on the list in the PDF. You can find them at Home Depot. They are on Amazon, that type of a thing. I have a hard time finding them at Rona, but they do have them available. And I think they come in 2 different colors, so you can have fun and have at her. Other than that, we've got your glue gun. So this is good, and your soldering is good, and your heat gun for your shrink tape is good for LEDs. Okay, so this is when we start getting into our whole LED section of things. Those are the type of tools you're gonna see. You might just see 1 or 2 of the other ones there while we're doing that, but I'll show you the proper way to connect all your LED wires to your LED lighting in your controller and stuff, and we'll go over a couple of different controllers that work good for different applications. Air, always good to have, and your connectors. Now these connectors, you're gonna have to be a little bit preemptive with these. They are expensive. If you wanna buy them at Home Depot or whatever, that's fine. They do have them, but they can only come in bags of like 10 or 20, and they're usually like 20 bucks. So they charge you like almost $1 per or 25 cents per. They're not cheap that way at all. We buy them in bulk, and I get them from either overseas, or we have a supplier that sells bags of 10,000. So it brings the price down quite a bit when you buy them in bulk like that. These are just general connectors. These ones don't matter as much when you're dealing with your connections to your buttons and things like that. When you start getting into 12 and 5 volts or whatever, we use different connectors that are CSA approved. I'm just gonna show you the general ones that we use because you don't have to care about that. The CSA approved ones are about 10 times the cost. So they're like $2 each. It's pretty horrible to have to use those, but that's just the way life goes, especially here in Canada. I don't know about the US, I don't know if they care or not. So with that, these ones are 187s, then you've got the 110s. These 110s are insulated all the way, and you have another 110 that's not. It's going to be hard to see here. I will try to bring that up. These connectors are, like I said, one's insulated all the way, this one is not. The difference is we would use this for 12 volt power side and this for the ground side, so that they don't cross over and touch and zap you or start a fire, that type of a thing. And a butt splice, you can give it whatever name you want, but that's what we call it here. It is just a connector, a barrel connector to go to connect the wire and make an extension. That happens quite a bit, especially on your grounding wires, because they're all daisy chained, so you're going to want to put an extension in there, especially if you have, you know, player 1 and player 2 over here, which would be backwards for you, but if they're quite far away and the daisy chain link is only 4 inches long but you're 10 inches apart, you're going to need to put in that excess wire in between and then make a jumper and that type of a thing. You're going to need your shrink tubing. You can buy this anywhere pretty much too, any hardware store, that type of a thing. Yeah, just make sure that you're prepared when we get into all this stuff so that you kind of have a good idea of what we're looking at for tools. There is a small investment with these, but these can be used if you don't have them already. They can be used, you know, for the duration of you owning them. You'll always need something sooner or later. Some of these stuff are very specific. You can use a hairdryer instead of this heat gun that we have here. This one just makes life so much faster and easier. If you sit there with a hairdryer, it's going to take you probably 10 times longer to heat it up and get it to shrink properly. You can use a lighter as well too, but then you risk having black soot on there when you're done, but it'll work, it'll hold, it won't melt, it'll do its thing. So all in all, this is what we got. This is where you're at. If you can get all this stuff, you'll be in good shape.